नमस्कार स्टूडेंट्स। आज के इस ऑनलाइन वीडियो लेक्चर में हम डिस्कस करेंगे टॉपिक बेसिक्स ऑफ इनहेरिटेंस। बट बिफोर दैट, आई रश्मि पांडे वेलकमिंग यू ऑल in the online lecture series of object oriented programming and methodology. So let us start today's lecture. So students, today's lectures headings cover prerequisite, objective, inheritance, example, which shows what is inheritance, when to use inheritance, problems and solutions, advantages, syntax, sample program, visibility modes, finally quiz, which is based on the lecture which I am going to deliver, learning outcomes, and at last references. So let us first take the topic prerequisite. So students, just like in my every lecture, I have tried to cover the prerequisite. Prerequisite are the things which is required for the understanding of any topic, which means that student must have extra pre-knowledge which will help the student to understand the concept in much better form. Now, the second point is knowledge of various basic data types. So to understand what is inheritance, you must know what are basic data types. Then well known about class and object declaration so that you will not feel any discomfort while understanding the concept of inheritance. And at last, of course, you must know how to run your program on the editor. So it is mandatory that you must have the knowledge about C++ editor. Now, let us just move. Objective of the topic. So there is only my single objective which I can use for this lecture is simply to train students about object oriented programming concept, inheritance, and also give knowledge about how to develop basic C++ program using inheritance. Now, let us move towards the topic understanding slides. So, first of all, we can see what is inheritance. So, this concept, although I have discussed in my previous lecture videos, but here I am taking this topic in detail. So let's see what this topic says. So as you can see here, inheritance is basically that feature of object-oriented programming which gives us the facility of reusability, or you can say that which gives us the advantage of code reusability. So what does that mean? Let us understand this by taking a real life example. As being as a kid of your parent, or being as a children, whatever your parent has made, like if they have made the house, or if they have collected all the facilities, or you can say luxurious things for you, then sometimes you need not to feel to buy or to expense same things on the same things again and again. What you people do, you just use all those things which your parents tries to give you. Or you can say that in other form, that you are, sometimes some people are notifying you that you look like your parent, or you are possessing same habits as the habit is in your father or maybe in your mother. So likewise here also in inheritance, one class inherited the properties of its parent class. So if you can see this diagram, what you found, that this is the class B, which is inheriting the properties of class A. So likewise, it gives the advantage to class B that it cannot again redefine or rebuild the same properties which it found in its parent class. Okay. Now, what is parent class? Parent class, you can say, is a base class or a super class, which is being inherited. Okay, or which is going to be inherited by its child class. Now, what is derived class? Derived class is basically the child class, or you can say the subclass. Okay, which is inheriting the properties of class A. So this is the whole concept of inheritance. I hope you get the understanding about it. Now, let us understand further this concept with the help of an example. So here you have seen that this is the parent or root class animal, and from this root class, two more classes are defined: reptile and mammal. So these two classes are saying that, or you can say that these two classes are acquiring the properties of this parent class, which you can say an animal class. And then further, if we can go down below in this hierarchy, further we can see that this snake and lizard is occupying the property of reptile, and here the dog, cat and cow classes are acquiring the properties of this mammal. So likewise, you can see and understand very well that how easily the below classes, or you can say the descendant classes, have made by acquiring the properties of their parent class, so that they are not supposed to redeclare the common properties inside them. Now let us move further. So our next topic is when to use inheritance. So this is the question which came in front as okay, till now you have studied about the concept of inheritance and the type, what is the meaning of inheritance, but it is the need, like why we are using inheritance. So it is the same thing which we have discussed in our previous slide also, but let us just understand this by taking one example into consideration. So here we have seen that we have a class one, which is bus, another class is car, and the third one is truck. So in bus class also, these methods are same, where fuel amount is there for bus also, where the capacity also is common property in bus, and where apply brakes is also common in bus. So in car also all these three properties are present, which is common, and here once again these three properties are common in truck also. So likewise you can see that if the properties are common in all these three classes, bus, car and truck, then what is the need of declaring each and every time same thing, okay, again and again in your program, which do nothing but only increasing your code and creating a mess in the program. So to overcome this problem, what the solution have come, the solution which have come will gives us or you can say has given the concept of inheritance, where instead of redeclaring same function again and again in all the related classes, what the technique have has evolved, it is just like only one parent class has declared of name vehicle, and then these three functions have declared in this class, which is vehicle, and this class then further is inherited by all these three other classes, which can further make the child classes. Okay, or which can further be notified as the child classes of the parent class vehicle. So likewise, we have save the space also and save the total line of code inside our programs also. Okay, so this is basically the core concept of inheritance, that instead of writing the same thing or declaring the same thing again and again in the program, what we can do, we can simply make a parent class and declare all the common things into that, and then further uh, just inherit the class into its derived classes, so that the derived class can easily use and access the common properties from its parent class. Okay, so students, I hope you get the understanding about why we use inheritance. Now let us move further. So what are the advantages of C++ inheritance? So you can say that code reusability, this is what you have seen, how we can easily reuse the code which I have declared once. The second one is method overriding, which is a part of runtime polymorphism. Students, this polymorphism concept I have given a little idea about in my previous lectures, and this polymorphism also I can take into a separate video lecture in a detailed manner, so there you can understand the things. Okay, so method overriding is the facility which this inheritance is providing, and then this virtual keyword property is also related with the method overriding. So all these things are nothing but only helping to helping in the reusability of the code. So following are the advantages. Now, let us just learn about the syntax of inheritance, or you can say if we can use the concept of inheritance in our program, then how we can use it. So this is the line, by using it, you can simply write, or you can use the concept of inheritance in your program. So how you can write this? See, just again take the example of animal and dog. Okay, here animal is the parent class and dog is the child class. So how I can inherit this animal class into its dog class? It is the syntax of that concept. So before inheriting, you must ensure that you have already made this animal class. How we can create the class? This idea with example and syntaxes I have already explained in my lecture number 2 and 3. So you can refer those lectures. So likewise, first of all, you have to create this animal class, and once you create that, then secondly, the second step is, now you are supposed to create this dog class by inheriting the super class. Okay, so what here how you can write the things, like first of all you can write the class keyword, then you are supposed to write the subclass name, which is dog here, then you are supposed to put this colon sign, Then after that you are supposed to write here access mode. Now this is what or this is where the main concept starts of inheritance. Okay, so what is this access mode? So access mode are basically instructor, the whole procedure that how our class is going to inherit into its derived class. So these are of three types: public, private, and protected. So okay, this complete thing I'm going to cover in my next slide, but till then you just focus on the syntax. So either you can write here public, or you can write here private, or you can write here protected while inheriting the superclass. Okay, so if you don't write anything here, then by default the access mode is private. So you must be careful about this, that if you want to derive your superclass as a public, then you must include the keyword public here, otherwise it will become private. Okay, and it will inherit all of its all the data members or member functions of the parent class as privately. So there is a difference in between them. Like if you inherit private privately, then it will give you different result. Okay, if you inherit the members of parent class publicly, then it will give you different result. Likewise for protected also the things will be different. And what are those things? This we will cover in just my next slide. So next is super class name. So here you are supposed to write the name of the parent class uh, whose properties you are going to be inherit in the subclass. Now let us understand the concept of public, private, and protected. Before that, you can just see the sample program of inheritance. The syntax which you have seen here, how this syntax is actually included in the program. This we can see. So likewise, you can include like a class animal, then public. Okay, here this is access specifier. So by putting this access specifier here also, you found three options: private, public, and protected. So you can declare your data members either private or protected or public. Fine. So here what I have done, I have simply declared one variable and initialize it with the value 4 in the public part. And then I have made another class, which is class dog, and I have inherited this animal class publicly. So what does that mean? It means that all the data members which is or with the help of that it is coming inside this will become public. Okay, like here I have found only one data member lex, which is declared in the public part, and this parent class animal is also coming publicly in its sub class, or you can say in its derived class. Then it means that all the data members which comes under public will become public here. All the data members which are in the private private access modifier, it will not at all inherited. So in any case, you just remember one thing, that the private data members will not inherit it in any case to its derived class. Okay, this class dog is having its own data member also, which is tail. Okay, but uh, it, as you can see here, this animal class is inherited publicly. So in hidden form, you can say that this lex variable has also included here. So what will become? This dog class object will easily access the this leg variable also. Okay, through its object. So you can say that likewise this inheritance have performed. How you can check this? You can simply create a object of a doc class and then try to access its parent class data member also and its own data member also, which is a d.lex or d.tail. Okay, and then you found the answer very correctly. So this is how the whole inheritance is performed. Now let us move further. See, this is what I have been talking about, the access modifiers and inheritance. So this is very important slide and you just take a closer look into that. So what you found here, you found that see, these are three visibility modes. This is visibility modes like public mode, private mode and protected mode. So these are three modes which you can say that which says that how you are going to inherit your parent class into the base class. Okay, and these three belongs to the data members, like your data member may be private, your data member may be protected and your data member may be public. Okay, so now let us understand the concept. So during inheritance, if you found that if you are going to inherit your private data member in public mode, then it will not get inherited. Or you can say that if you are inheriting the here you can see that it means that if you are inheriting parent class in public mode, okay, I am just repeating the things again. If you are inheriting your parent class publicly, then the private data members of base class you cannot inherit. The protected data members will become protected for one time only. Okay. And the public data member will become public. Now, if you are inheriting your base class privately, then in that case, the data member of the base class you cannot inherit. The protected member will come into the private part of the derived class, and the public data member will come again into the private part. So this you can relate that if you are going to inherit the things privately, then except the private data member, all other type of data members will go into the private section of the derived class. And you better know that what is the meaning of this. If any data member comes inside private access specifier scope, then those data members may get only access by the member function of that class. Okay, it will not get access directly from the main function if they are declared in the private section of any class. Fine. So the third is if you are inheriting your class protectedly, then again the private data member you cannot inherit, and both other type of data members will become protected. So protected means what is the meaning of this protected type of data member? Protected type of data member is also treated just like private data member, with the only difference is that it can get inherit only one time. Okay, only one ladder below it can come down, not more than that. So why this type of data type, or why this type of access modifier is used? Because sometimes it is needed that, okay, this variable may be needed in the very next base class or very next descendant, but not to the other, or not for other classes, for other subclasses. Okay, so you can say that once again I am repeating this concept, that if you are inheriting your parent class publicly, then the private data members will not inherit it, the protected data members will become protected, and the public data members will become public. And if you are inheriting your parent class privately, then also private data member will not get inherited, and protected and public both will become private. And if you are inheriting your parent class protectedly, then it means that the private data member again will not get inherited, and the protected and public members will become protected. So likewise this whole concept works. I hope you got the understanding about how the visibility mode work in different values, or in different situations, and how these data members react according to the situations. So students, if you have any query regarding this complete table, you are free to ask from me at any time. Now, this is the quiz time, of course. I hope you got the understanding of all the concepts very clearly, and I hope that uh, you further show your interest in the concept which I have just explained. So now it's a time for quiz, students. Let us play. Now let us start this quiz. So my first question is, which among the following best describe the inheritance? Number one, copying the code already written, using the code already written once, using already defined functions in programming language, or using the data and functions into derived segment. So students, just think about it and try to give your answer. Okay, so this time I will help you. Yes, you found it correct, that it is D. Fine. Now, the second question is, which is the correct syntax of inheritance? Just look at it and try to find out the whole thing. Okay, I think you got the answer. So it is, yes, it is C. Yes, correct. Now let us move towards next slide. If a base class is inherited in protected access mode, then which among the following is true? Just read the lines. Number one option, public and protected members of base class becomes protected members of derived class. Only protected members become protected member of derived class. Private, protected and public, all members of base become private of derived class. And only private members of base class become private of derived class. Okay, I think you guessed the answer till now. So, very good. Now, next is members which are not intended to be inherited are declared as public members, protected members, private members, or private or protected members. Yes, I think you guessed the correct answer. So once again, I am helping you. Yes, it will become private members. And at last, the final question is, while inheriting a class, if no access mode is specified, then which among the following is true in C++? So it gets inherited publicly by default. It gets inherited protectedly by default. It gets inherited privately by default, or at last it is not possible. So, what will be the answer? The answer is C. It gets inherited privately by default. So students, this is the end of this quiz. I hope you enjoyed the session and you enjoyed this quiz also. Okay, and I hope you got the understanding of the basic concepts of inheritance and its access modifiers, which is equally important. Now, let us move toward the end of this lecture by looking into learning outcomes. So I think you got the concept of inheritance and its visibility modes with the help of all the examples which I have covered in this lecture, and at last finally with the help of the quiz. Okay. So in my next video lecture, I will try to cover uh, more interesting topics related to your subject. So till then, if you want to refer, you can use these references. And at last, stay happy, stay safe at your home. Thank you. Thank you so much for patient listening me.